Daniel never trusted perfect offers. Still, this one was hard to ignore. He was 27, recently unemployed, and tired of moving between short-term jobs. When the email arrived, it felt like a solution sent at the exact right moment. "We are looking for a project coordinator, long-term contract, free housing, quiet location, immediate start." The company name was Northway Solutions. Daniel searched for it online. The website looked professional. Clean design, real photos, no obvious mistakes. There were even employee interviews talking about balance and focus. Too clean. But Daniel needed work. 3 days later, he was on a train heading north. The town with no noise. The train stopped at a small station called Hollow Creek. Daniel stepped out and immediately noticed something strange. There was no noise, no traffic, no music, no people talking loudly, just wind and distant birds. A woman stood near the platform holding a tablet. "Daniel Ross?" she asked. "Yes," Daniel replied. "I'm Clara. I'll take you to your apartment." Apartment. Another perfect detail. They drove through the town slowly. Small houses, clean streets, no trash, no advertisements. Daniel looked around. "It's very quiet here." Clara smiled. "People come here to focus." "On what?" asked Daniel. "On their work," she answered. The first rule. Daniel's apartment was small but modern. Everything worked. Everything was ready. On the table, there was a printed document. "Welcome Guidelines." Clara pointed at it. "Please read this carefully. And one important thing, no visitors." Daniel laughed lightly. "I don't know anyone here." "That's good," Clara replied. She left without saying goodbye. Daniel sat down and read the document. Work hours 0800 to 1800. Curfew 2200. Internet use monitored for security. No external storage devices. No personal recordings inside facilities. Daniel frowned. "This feels more like a contract than a guideline," he said to himself. Northway Solutions. The office building was outside the town, modern, gray, silent. Inside, Daniel met his team, 5 people. All polite, all calm. Too calm. His manager, Mr. Hale, explained the work. He said, "We analyze workflows. We remove inefficiency." Daniel nodded. "In what industry?" Mr. Hale paused. "In human systems," he said. Daniel didn't like that answer. The first uneasy feeling. At lunch, Daniel tried to talk to a coworker named Evan. "How long have you worked here?" Daniel asked. Evan thought for a moment. "Long enough." "Do you live in town?" Daniel continued. "Yes." "Do you like it?" Evan smiled. "It's easy." That was not an answer. That evening, Daniel walked outside at 2150. At exactly 2200, streetlights dimmed. People disappeared into houses. Daniel checked his phone. No signal. Then it came back. A message appeared. Unknown sender. Please respect the schedule. Daniel's stomach tightened. He went back inside. A thought that wouldn't leave. That night, Daniel lay in bed staring at the ceiling. This job paid too well. This town asked too little, and the rules were too clear. Perfect systems did not exist, only controlled ones. And Daniel had a strong feeling. Hollow Creek didn't just organize work, it organized people. Daniel woke up at exactly 6:30. He didn't remember setting an alarm. For a moment, he stayed still and listened. No cars, no voices, no sounds from neighbors. The town was awake, but quietly, as if noise was not allowed. He checked his phone. "Good morning, Daniel. Today's schedule is ready." He frowned. "This is getting strange," he said softly. "Life by schedule." At work, everything followed a clear rhythm. People arrived at the same time. They sat in the same places. They took breaks at the same minute. Daniel noticed that no one checked the clock. They didn't need to. During a meeting, Mr. Hale spoke calmly. "Efficiency improves when decisions are removed," he said. "Here, you don't need to choose, you only need to perform." Daniel wrote the sentence down, not because it was useful, because it scared him. What they really analyze. Daniel's task that day was simple: review behavior logs, compare productivity levels, highlight irregular patterns. He scrolled through profiles. Each one had notes: emotional stability, compliance level, social activity. These were not work statistics. "These are people," Daniel whispered. He clicked on one profile by accident. Status corrected. No explanation, just that word. A quiet conversation. At lunch, Daniel sat near Evan again. "Can I ask you something?" Daniel said quietly. Evan didn't look up. "You already are." Daniel lowered his voice. "What happens to people who don't fit?" Evan stopped eating. For a long second he said nothing. Then he answered, "They get help." "What kind of help?" Daniel asked. Evan looked at him for the first time. "The kind that makes questions disappear." The town after work. That evening, Daniel walked through Hollow Creek. Everything looked perfect. Clean houses, fresh paint, soft lights. But something was missing. There were no arguments, no laughter, no surprises. The town felt like a picture that never changed. Daniel noticed a small building at the edge of town. No sign, no windows. He stepped closer. His phone buzzed. "That area is not part of your routine." Daniel stepped back. His heart was beating fast. Clara again. Later that night, someone knocked on his door. It was Clara. "You walked too far today," she said calmly. Daniel crossed his arms. "I was just walking." Clara smiled slightly. "Freedom is not the same everywhere." She looked at him closely. "You're adapting slower than expected." "Is that a problem?" Daniel asked. Clara leaned closer. "It becomes one." A decision forms. After she left, Daniel sat on his bed. He thought about his old life. It was messy, loud, stressful, but it was real. Here, everything worked, and that was the problem. Daniel opened his laptop and disconnected the internet cable. For the first time since arriving, the screen stayed dark. No message, no schedule. He smiled. "They don't like silence," he whispered. And in that moment, Daniel knew one thing clearly. If he stayed passive, Hollow Creek would change him. If he acted, it would notice. Either way, the routine was about to break. Daniel woke up before his alarm this time. He felt tense, like his body already knew something was wrong. For a few seconds, he stayed in bed and listened. Nothing. The silence in Hollow Creek was never natural. It felt prepared. He checked his phone. No morning message. No schedule. Daniel felt a small moment of victory. They noticed, he thought. A different day at work. At the office, something felt off. People still worked quietly, but Daniel noticed small changes. Some coworkers avoided eye contact. Others watched him for a second too long. Mr. Hale did not greet him. Instead, Clara stood near Daniel's desk. "Today you will review archived reports," she said. Daniel looked at her. "That wasn't on my task list." Clara smiled politely. "It is now." The archive room. The archive room was cold and dark. Old servers filled the walls. The lights were weaker here, like this place was not meant to be used often. Daniel sat down and logged in. Folders appeared on the screen. Most were normal reports. Then he saw one folder marked in red. reintegration program. Daniel hesitated. His heart beat faster. He opened it. The truth in the data. Inside were profiles, names, photos, behavior notes, and outcomes. Daniel read one carefully. Subject shows resistance to routine, emotional instability detected, action, reintegration. Below that were notes, schedule adjustment, social isolation, cognitive guidance sessions. Daniel felt sick. This is not help, he whispered. This is control. Then he saw something worse. Some profiles were marked status completed. No explanation, no location, just finished. Clara's shadow. Daniel quickly closed the file. At that exact moment, the lights flickered. His screen froze. A message appeared. Unauthorized access detected. Daniel's breath stopped. Then, nothing. The system returned to normal. Moments later, Clara entered the room. "You like to explore," she said calmly. Daniel forced a smile. "That's my job." Clara stepped closer. "Exploration is useful, but direction matters." "Direction chosen by who?" Daniel asked. Clara looked at him for a long moment. "By what works," she answered. A quiet warning. At lunch, Evan sat next to Daniel without speaking. After a minute, he leaned closer. "Be careful," Evan whispered. "They don't punish fast." Daniel looked at him. "Why are you telling me this?" Evan's hands were shaking. "Because I used to ask questions too," he said. Daniel noticed something new then. Evan's eyes looked empty, like someone who stopped fighting a long time ago. The town tightens. That evening, Daniel walked home. Streetlights turned on earlier than usual. A calm voice played from public speakers. "Thank you for your cooperation." Daniel stopped walking. "Cooperation with what?" he asked quietly. His phone buzzed. "Your adjustment phase has begun." Daniel clenched his jaw. A line crossed. In his apartment, Daniel found a new paper on the table. No sound, no knock, just there. It read, "Resistance causes discomfort. Acceptance creates peace." Daniel crushed the paper in his hand. "No," he said out loud. "Acceptance creates silence." He opened his laptop and began copying files from the archive, slowly, carefully. If Hollow Creek was built on secrets, then secrets were its weakness, and Daniel had just taken his first real step from observer to threat. Daniel didn't sleep well that night. Every small sound felt important. Every shadow on the wall felt like someone watching. At 03:12, his phone vibrated. No sound, just vibration. A message appeared. "Unknown. You're not as alone as you think." Daniel sat up immediately. His heart started racing. "Daniel, who is this?" 3 dots appeared, then disappeared. Then a new message came. "Unknown. Meet me tomorrow. Old bus stop. 1940. Daniel stared at the screen. There was no old bus stop in Hollow Creek, at least none that he had seen. Acting normal. The next day, Daniel forced himself to act normal. He arrived on time, he smiled when needed, he followed instructions. But he felt it. The system was watching him more closely. Clara passed his desk twice that morning. "Everything okay?" she asked the second time. "Yes," Daniel replied, "just focusing." Clara nodded. "Good, focus is healthy." Her eyes stayed on him 1 second too long. A crack in the routine. During the afternoon break, Daniel noticed something unusual. A woman at the far desk was crying. Quietly. No sound. No one reacted. No one looked. Daniel stood up slowly and walked past her. On her screen he saw a message. Emotional variation detected. Correction scheduled. Daniel's stomach turned. She's next, he thought. And one day, so would he be. The old bus stop. At 1930, Daniel left his apartment. He walked carefully, avoiding main streets. Behind the storage building at the edge of town, he found it, an old bus stop. Broken glass, rusty metal, no cameras. A place forgotten by the system. Someone stood there. A man in his late 30s. He looked tired, but his eyes were sharp. "You came," the man said. Daniel nodded. "You messaged me." The man smiled slightly. "Good, that means you still choose." The name that changed everything. "My name is Lucas," he said. "I used to work in data control." Daniel froze. "Used to?" Lucas laughed quietly. "I stopped obeying." Daniel lowered his voice. "Why aren't you corrected?" Lucas pointed at the old bus stop. "Blind spots," he said. "Even perfect systems have them." Daniel swallowed. "What is Hollow Creek, really?" he asked. Lucas looked around before answering. "It's a test," he said. "A model town. They study how much control people accept before they stop resisting." Daniel felt cold. "And when people fail?" he asked. Lucas's jaw tightened. "They don't fail," he said. "They disappear." The Clara real role. Daniel hesitated. "What about Clara?" Lucas sighed. "She's not just an employee," he said. "She's a stabilizer. Her job is to sense resistance early." Daniel remembered her smile, her calm voice. "She's been watching me," Daniel said. Lucas nodded. "Then your time is limited." A choice with no safe answer. Lucas stepped closer. "I can help you," he said. "There is a way out. Not easy, not safe." Daniel took a deep breath. "What happens if I stay?" he asked. Lucas answered immediately. "You stop being you," he said. Daniel didn't need more explanation. He thought about the files, the profiles marked completed, the woman crying silently. "I'm in," Daniel said. Lucas nodded once. "Then tomorrow," he said, "you stop pretending." The system responds. That night, when Daniel returned home, his lights were already on. Clara sat at his table, waiting. "You missed curfew," she said calmly. Daniel stood still. "I was walking," he replied. Clara smiled. "You're changing faster than expected. That usually means one thing." "And what's that?" Daniel asked. Clara leaned forward. "It means the system will act." Daniel met her eyes. "For the first time," he said, "I hope it does." Daniel did not sit down. Clara was still at his table, calm as always, her hands folded neatly in front of her. She looked like she belonged there, like the apartment was not Daniel's at all. "You entered a restricted area," she said. "You broke curfew, and you disconnected your network access." Daniel took a slow breath. "I went for a walk," he said. "That's not a crime." Clara tilted her head slightly. "In Hollow Creek," she replied, "patterns matter more than intentions." The test. Clara stood up and walked toward the window. "Do you know why this place works?" she asked. Daniel stayed silent. "Because people want peace," Clara continued. "They want safety. They want someone else to decide." She turned back to him. "And when someone doesn't?" Daniel asked. Clara's smile faded. "Then we help them adapt." Daniel pushes back. "No," Daniel said firmly. "You don't help, you erase." For the first time, Clara looked surprised. Just for a second. "That word is emotional," she said. "We prefer optimize." Daniel stepped closer. "I saw the files," he said. "I saw what happens after correction." The room felt colder. Clara looked at him carefully now, like a doctor studying a patient. "So," she said slowly, "you crossed that line. The offer." Clara reached into her bag and placed a small device on the table. "Last chance," she said. "This can stabilize you." Daniel stared at it. "What does it do?" he asked. "It removes resistance," Clara answered calmly. "You'll feel calm, clear, grateful." Daniel shook his head. "And empty," he said. Clara sighed. "Emotions are inefficient," she said. "This town proves that." Daniel thought about Lucas, about Evan, about the woman crying at her desk. "I don't want a perfect life. I want a real one." The system makes a mistake. Clara picked up the device. "Then you leave us no choice," she said. At that exact moment, the lights flickered. The device made a sharp sound. Clara froze. Her tablet buzzed. She looked down. For the first time, her face changed completely. "What is it?" Daniel asked. She didn't answer. Her fingers moved quickly on the screen. "No," she whispered. Daniel's phone vibrated in his pocket. A message appeared. "Unknown. Now." Lucas. Daniel acted without thinking. He grabbed his jacket and moved toward the door. Clara looked up sharply. "Stop," she ordered. Daniel opened the door. The hallway lights went dark. Running through the crack. Daniel ran. The town was not ready for chaos. Street lights blinked on and off. Public speakers repeated broken messages. "Please remain, please remain, please." Daniel turned a corner and almost crashed into Lucas. "This way," Lucas said. They ran toward the edge of town. Behind them, alarms began to sound, soft at first, then louder. The truth comes out. As they ran, Lucas spoke quickly. "The system predicts behavior, but it can't handle choice." "What did you do?" Daniel asked. "I changed the data," Lucas replied. "I told it you were compliant." Daniel laughed breathlessly. "And now?" "And now," Lucas said, "you're a contradiction." The line between control and freedom. They stopped near the old bus stop. Drones hovered in the distance. Lights searched the streets. Lucas looked at Daniel. "If you cross this line," he said, "you can't come back." Daniel looked at Hollow Creek. Perfect, quiet, empty. "I was never really here," Daniel said. He stepped forward. The town's lights shut off behind them. Complete darkness. Then, silence. Real silence. Not controlled, not planned, just open.